face front. Hey, looks like that. Cheers. Keep it right. Battle. Thank you. Battle. Cheers. Watch me, can you? Yeah. Cheers. Sit down, cross your legs. Here, you know, we're all the people that you train with, so it's very special for especially the Dan rigs we've just tested, to share this moment with you. So all they're going to do is they're going to, I can't present the belt on them again because they've already got the belt on, but they're going to say the oath again to the club where they train to you guys, the students. It's very important for you guys to hear that oath. And then there's a bit afterwards. It's not too much talked about now, but it's very, very important. It's a tradition going all the way back to when I got my black belt, and that's called the humility test. Now, the humility test is very important because sometimes when people get a black belt, start to get a bit of an attitude, start to think that they're better than everyone else, and all this humility test is to show that all they are is a white belt that never gave up. Okay? And this, for those of you who don't know, this is very special because Richard started just before, but Richard and Carl and Di were the first students to ever start training here in this dojo. So again, Bruno was my first black belt in the club, but these guys are the first black belts through this dojo. So they literally are part of this dojo. So it's really important for you guys to see that today. Okay, so the three Dan rigs come to the front. Who's going to hold the camera?
Yeah.
Hi, Carl Southie.
Hi, Richard Phillips.
Member of the Road Taxi Association. Small business vehicle firm. I go forever conducting wayfares, both public and private, in accordance with the invincible spirit, thanks to God, and always focus my energies towards the promotion and enhancement, thanks to God. I solemnly swear or affirm that I will be loyal to my studio, instructor, grandmaster, and the World Taekwondo Association for the rest of my life.
Thanks, sir.
Thanks, sir.
Good round of applause, everyone. But there should have been a fourth person stand up here today, and there's nothing wrong. Ryan was there at the pre-test. He passed his pre-test. He was already great, and then COVID hit him. And the true gentleman and warrior he was, he stepped back, which was devastating, obviously for him, but devastating for these boys because they came up together. So when I thought of this humility test, I thought it of the pre-test. We were driving up, and Di and Southie and Ryan and Richard were telling me stories about it, because they've all trained martial arts before, and they come from the old school, okay? So they're going to recreate a very, very famous sketch as sport.
This black belt will fit me like a glove do.
Nothing like a good class of Taekwondo. Aye, Di.
Ah, you're right there, Carl. Who'd have thought 30 years ago we'd all be sitting here enjoying a lovely Korean martial arts class in a wonderful dojo?
Yeah, in them days it'd have been smashing to have had a village hall.
Cold village hall.
Ah, without any pads, mats, lads.
Or a hall either.
Or a scabby function room in your leisure.
We never used to have a function room. We used to have to train in the car park outside the village hall, as they had an indoor optic practice on the same night.
The best we could manage was to train in our mate's garden.
Aye, but you know, we were happy in those days as long as we got to train martial arts.
Because we had martial arts. My old instructor used to say to me, Southie and Richard, how shall I say this? If you have an injury, modify. Does everybody understand? Does this make sense? This is the best one. Purpose-built dojo doesn't guarantee happiness.
He was right. I was happier then, and our club had nothing. We used to train in an old church with great big holes in the roof.
You were lucky to have a church. We used to train in the schoolroom, all 126 of us. No sparring gear, half the floor was whistling. We would all did forms it together in one corner, fear of falling.
You were lucky to have a classroom. We had training in a porta cabin.
Oi, to be honest, with you mate, we used to dream of training in a porta cabin. It would have been like a palace. We used to train in an old water tank on a rubbish tip. We used to start every class doing push-ups in an old rotten fish. Church!
Well, when I say church, it was only a hole in the ground, covered with a piece of tarpaulin, but it was a dojo to us, see lads.
We were thrown out as I were all in the ground. We had to train in the lake.
You were lucky you had a lake. There were 160 of us all training in a small shoebox in the middle of the road.
Cardboard box?
Aye.
I bet. Fair play, you were lucky. We used to train 3 months in a brown paper bag and set in a tank. We have to start class at 6 o'clock in the morning, clean the bag, do 100 press-ups, stay in horse riding stance for an hour doing basics, and when we would talk in class, our instructor used to thrash us with his belt.
Luxury. We used to have to get up to the lake at 3 in the morning, clean the lake, do 100 push-ups on our knuckles, stay in horse riding stance for the duration of the lesson, and if we put our hand up to ask the question, our instructor would beat her around the head and the neck with a staff, if we were lucky.
Well, we had it tough. We used to have to get up out of our shoebox at 12 o'clock at night and lick the road clean without towels. We did 500 jump clap finger push-ups and 1,000 burpees between each fall. The whole class would do horse riding stance on top of each other. And if we didn't care after every technique, the instructor would slice us in two with his sword.
I had to start training in the morning at 10 p.m. a day. Half an hour before I finished my previous class. We had 100-pound weights vest throughout the entire class. I would be out from the door while the rest of the class would practice their ninja start rowing from conditioning purposes. And if one drop of blood left my body from excessive blades entering my body, our instructor would murder me and dance on my praise singing Hallelujah.
I'm not going to lie to you, but if you try telling young people that today, they'd never believe you.